Hey, folks, we're back at it again. The SPS Edge Show with the greatest team around. Got my guy Terry McCord Jr. been holding me down since day one, the young Jedi. We got John and Patrick Rutherford. These guys are so fun, so much knowledge, so much insight. And we got Orlando Watkins on the ones and twos. A lot of you young folks out here listening don't know about ones and twos when they hear ones and twos, but we got Orlando back there making it happen. Looking forward to another great show, a great day. There's a lot going on in the sports community as well. Also got to acknowledge there's just a lot happening. Our good friend Horatio Williams has another event that's taking place that's in Detroit. And if it wasn't for our show and the event I'll be doing afterwards, the virtual recruitment forum, we would be in the place. It's going to have some HBCU college coaches in the building, John, to talk about recruitment and things like that. And I also want to shout out another podcast that's pretty popular, State Champions, with George Ward of King High School, good guy, my guy, and Raphael Peterson. They'll be touching on some of the same topics we'll be touching on later on tonight. I say that to say this. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it seems very easy for people to try to make it competitive or make it like who's this or who's that, compared to saying, you know what, man, it's a lot of information out here. And in this podcast world, i.e. play on demand, you can get the information you need to get when you need to get it. So with that being said, let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. We got the All Star Game, MLB All Star Game. We got our All Star Game correspondent, Terry McCord, go tell us about that. We got the top 5 dead or alive point guards. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And I might have to move that one up, man. I'm excited about that. Got great news for the Detroit area. Willie Green, Cooley's own Willie Green, head coach in the NBA, goes from being a Cardinal to a Pelican. This Ben Simmons trade, I knew it was coming. In my personal view as a sports psychologist, son, I think it's a better situation. We'll touch on that. The question I pose is USA basketball looking up, or looking down? I don't know. And finally, we'll talk about those NBA finals, 2-2. Patrick, it's all tied up, man. So it's not what people saw. People talk about Phoenix in 6. But now we're gonna see. So we got that. Say again.
Still possible.
Yeah, okay. We're going to see. So this is what I want to get on, man. I just have to go to what I'm excited about. I want to talk about this top 5 guards, dead or alive, man. I just really want to talk about. Thank you. I think that's a good one. I want to shout out Aaron Mays, who's been supporting us from day one. He put that out there and got it going. I think him and Patrick was about to move around some virtual furniture for a minute. They were like, wait a minute, what you mean? What? But I'll start with you, Terry. When you hear top 5 guards, dead or alive, and let me just say this for our viewers and our listeners and everybody, there are no wrong answers. You remember you were in school, Patrick, and they told you there are no wrong answers. Is that right, John? There are no wrong answers. This is just what I feel. So here's my only criteria. We'll use that same idea that when Kenny Smith on Inside the NBA, they had this fictitious party that was going on, and you had to be an NBA champion to get in. So my question only to everyone is this: what is the criteria to get in? Oh, Aaron Mays is here. He said, I'm here for it. He said, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Aaron, this is your topic. We'll keep that going. So, Terry, the only thing I ask when you share who your 5 are, just give the reason why they should go by the velvet rope and get in. So we'll start with you. No further ado, Terry. Who's your top 5 dead or alive point guards?
All right, so the criteria I went by, is mostly just one, what the point guard is. I mean, the leader, a team that doesn't have to necessarily be all the way unselfish, but, I like to see an unselfish guard. I like to see a guard that can do it both ways. And I mean, scoring and get dudes going, and also making others, getting dudes going and also creating for himself. So with that being said, I got my top 5. So I got Magic at number 1. Shout out Lansing. I'm not biased at all. I do believe that Magic Johnson is the best point guard ever. Number 2, I have to go with Stephen Curry. The guy, revolutionized basketball today. Shooting the ball, best shooter of all time, and can get guys going. I think I like about him is that he's not a ball dominant guard. He's a guy that can move without the ball, get other guys going who need to be ball dominant, aka Draymond Green, a great facilitator, and he can feed off of guys. He's a great guy to play off of. He's a guy that helped KD get to his ring. I mean, it helped KD fit right on in. Curry being so unselfish and getting guys going. He's a great compliment to an all-star, and we saw this year he can do it. He can do it by himself. So number 3, I got to go John Stockton. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, but I love John. I mean,
Why you think you'll get hate for John Stockton?
I threw out a question last week, and I saw Patrick's face. He was like, "What?"
Patrick can't hide his emotions sometimes. He can't play poker sometimes.
I gotta go Stockton, man. Although he didn't win one, I do believe that with the assist and being able to defend really well with the steals, I do believe that I didn't have the pleasure to watch him play, but after hearing and watching and doing some studying, I do like how John complimented with Malone. And as you guys pointed out, Michael Jordan wouldn't have even had to make that shot in Game 6 if it wasn't for Stockton's big shot. So the guy that can get it and also get dudes involved. And number 4, I got to go with Oscar Robertson. You know, obviously, Mr. Triple-Double himself. It's hard to leave a guy out who is doing what he does best. I know he was playing in the league where, I mean, he's like a 6'5", 6'6" giant point guard, but the man can get it and do his thing. And number 5, I got to go with Chris Paul. I mean, I know he wasn't popular last week with being in the top 5, but I mean, Chris Paul. I mean, other than last night, you know, he didn't prove that he was clutch, but dude has that clutch gene in him. I mean, able to lead any team, you know, to greatness and win games. I love that OKC year. That year really had me really think that Chris Paul can be a top guard once he gets on another contending team. And this is that year. I still had the Suns winning in 6 games, like I said last time. I like the Bucks. I was cheering for the Bucks because I really wanted to go 6 games, but I got Chris Paul at number 5, and I'm glad the Big O. I got to give props where it's due.
Right, for the record, my mom said Big O before you even did. She's like, don't forget old school, and don't worry. Even if Patrick was gonna give you grief, Aaron had your back. Even though Aaron. They both remote right now. Aaron said he was down for that. You know, he said he wanted to say it, but he didn't want to get crucified. People say, hey, Pat, you got people out here don't even want to talk about who they believe in. What you doing, folks, Pat? Hey, that was a great group, man. I like that. Patrick, I'm just going to defer to you right now only because the attention's coming your way. Again, no judgment on who. I'm just curious. You want to have a comment on Terry's before we go into that since your name kept coming up?
It was so many things wrong with Terry's top 5. I don't know where to start.
Oh, man. You said there's no wrong answers, Patrick. No wrong answers. Just say what you disagree with.
Steph Curry not at 2, bro. He down the list a little bit.
Okay.
You forgot Isaiah Thomas. You didn't even put him up there. That's crazy.
Well, let's just say, just tell us your list. Just tell us your list.
All right, let's. I'll go. Number 1, Magic. Number 2, Isaiah. Number 3, Steph.
Okay.
So he's on the list.
Yeah, he on the list. But I was telling my dad earlier, certain things that are kind of off the court come into this sometimes, and in every gym around America, people are shooting 30-footers now, and that's because of him. He changed the game, and you got to put him in there because of that. But 4, I'm gonna go Big O, and then 5. You know, I didn't want to do this, but then I did my research and I looked up some things. Bob Cousy resume is sick.
Okay.
He got 6 rings. He got like 10 assist awards for leading the league in assists. He got 13-time All-Star, 10-time NBA first team or something like that. It's ridiculous. The resume ridiculous. You got to
shout out to Orlando for the graphic. He came with it, baby.
You got to put him in there. So you know, I got Magic, Isaiah, Steph, Big O, Cousy.
So I'm looking at Aaron. Aaron just put up Magic, Big O, Isaiah, Steph, and Stockton. So I think you guys are consistent.
All of my 5, they all got rings. So we ain't got to make no arguments about, I know Stockton didn't get a ring. But we ain't got to do that with my list. They all ringed up.
So did you go back and get you an old school ring with Cousy?
I mean, when I was doing my research, his resume too heavy. It's so heavy. It's like it's hard to touch, really.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. Aaron says, great research project, not mad at all. Okay. Oh, my mom say ring is mandatory. What you say, Mama?
Hey, mandatory.
Well, Mama, you got me changing my list, but I don't know if I'm going to change my list for Mama rules. I love that. Okay, John, you heard Terry. You heard Patrick. You know, let's see what the stage of sports has for us right now.
Well, first of all, this guy sitting next to me got the tip on Bob Cousy.
Oh, somebody gave him the tip.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And
You're not giving proper credit, Patrick. You're not giving proper credit.
Terry, I told him this. When I was 14 years old, I wanted to go to basketball camp. There was an all-white camp at UAD with a guy named Cincy Sachs ran it. All white kids from the suburbs in the Catholic League. So I tell my dad, I want to go to Cincy Sachs. So my dad says, oh, you want to go to basketball camp? And I said, yeah. So he gets me in the car one day. He takes me to West Grand Boulevard in Grand River. And he pulls up to a building that says the YMCA, and he says, go in there and ask for a man named Dr. Noah Brown. So I said, Dad, what am I doing here? He says, go in there and ask for Dr. Noah Brown. Now here's 30 cents. Go across the street, hop on this bus, and tell the bus driver that you want to get off on the crosstown, and the crosstown will drop you off at home on Harper. I said, really? He said, yeah. So I walk up in this building. There ain't no white people. They're all black. So I said, I'm looking for a Dr. Noah Brown. And he said, well, he's up in the gym. So I go in and I introduce myself. And it's the Green-Brown basketball camp. And that day, we did dribbling drills. And he taught me the koozie, Terry. That was the name of the dribble that you went behind your back.
Right.
Okay? So I later found out in my basketball life that this was a common phrase. You tell me what other point guard in the history of basketball has a dribble named after him. That's Bob Cousy.
I'm about to say Hardaway and Iverson.
Well, he started it.
They don't say due to Iverson. They don't say due to Hardaway. They say due to Cousy.
Hey, John, hold this down. You hold this jam down.
So anyhow, I mean, Bob Cousy, I got no problem with being in the top 5. I got no problem with Magic being the top guy ever. I mean, that when he got the ball off the backboard and he led the fast break, I mean, it was showtime. I mean, it was just put so much pressure on the team they were playing and the passes he made. I watched him play since he was 15 years old, and I got no problem with that. I do have a problem with the name you guys left off.
Okay.
And his name's Walt Frazier, and he's got rings. He could defend with the best of them. He could shoot with the best of them. He was in his era when, by the way, he won 2 championships with the Knicks. Okay, he was the best point guard in the NBA in his time, and he's the first guy, young Terry, that they ever named his shoe after.
Okay.
He was the first guy that Puma came out, and it was called the Clyde. Because
that was my mom, right? Look at it, right on time. My mom was on it.
Okay.
That's what's up.
So, different things happen in different eras. If you remember correctly, and you may mention Big O as a point guard. Well, in the majority of his career in Cincinnati, Slater Martin was the point guard. He was the off guard. Right. Okay. He played point guard when it came time to Milwaukee to win it when he got his ring. So, we've gone through an era where there was no term point guard. Right. There were combo guards. It was 2 guards that had the same skills. And then we went into an era where there was point guards. Some teams ran it, some didn't. Now you got a point guard who has a whole different resume and a whole different repertoire of skills. So, another guy that not mentioned, man, Earl, the Pearl, Monroe.
Yeah, sure.
Come on, baby. I mean, he was the first guy the NBA, Terry, is going to be 75 years next year.
Right.
The 75th anniversary. So they're really, when it comes time to compare to like Major League Baseball, they're young. It's a young league. Okay. Right. It's still young. I know 75 years seems like a lot, but when you compare it to baseball, it's not. Right. And, they've gone through some changes and they've gone through different asking players to do different things. But Earl Monroe was the first guy I saw that would come up to you and he had that spin and he didn't switch hands on the spin. Most guys, when they did a spin back in the day, would start with their right hand and take the ball to their left hand as they turned. He didn't do that. And he was an absolute magician with the ball. I don't.
Orlando again with the visual.
Yeah, there's been so many great players. And Isaiah Thomas, man, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you a story, Terry. At halftime of his sophomore year at Indiana, they were playing North Carolina for the championship. It was in Philadelphia. It was a Monday night. And it was a real close game at halftime. And Bob Knight did something that he never did before or after. He went in at halftime and he told Isaiah, go, man. Go. Show your wares. And that boy got that ball and he went down that floor and he went by people, around people. He threw dimes and he made layups. And he is one of the toughest little guys in the history of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he refused to lose. I watched him play a lot, and I got to have him in there.
I got it. That makes sense.
Gotta have him in there.
Aaron is singing your praises.
But, Cousy and Cousy was only one of 46 players, Terry, in the history of basketball that was an NCAA champ and an NBA champ. There's only 46 guys that have done that. Bob Cousy's one of them. He was a great player on great teams that had a dynasty. But it's always an interesting question to ask. And I agree 100% with you, Lindsay, that, there's no wrong answers. It's somebody's personal favorite. And, the only thing I don't like about it is that somehow, some way, that sometimes it diminishes some of the other guys.
Right.
And they were such great players.
Right. I agree. We're going to take a break right now. But before I do, I want to acknowledge Kevin Marshall, my guy, Coach Marshall, always checking in. He checked in and said, "What's up?" Aaron, you really got something going with us, man. So I'll give you a head start on Patrick and Terry to do your homework. We're going to focus on the two guard, or as John so put it, the off guard next week. And that was my personal favorite because when my coach, Bill Carter, said, "Lindsay, I think you a two guard," when he let me hit that two guard spot in JV, I was like, I get to let it go. So that's going to be a good one. We'll focus on that. But let's just take a quick break, really quick, and really thank Horatio Williams Foundation. Thank you, H, for your support. Dick's Sporting Goods, as well as Gilead. And we want to give you an announcement from Team Michigan. Looking forward to going up to Traverse City soon for the basketball during the holiday weekend. But Team Michigan's going to take us away right now.
Breaking news, Team Michigan Basketball is presenting a series of basketball tournaments at Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get your teams registered today. The first tournament in the series is coming this Halloween weekend. Visit basketball.com or teammichiganbasketball.com for more information.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time, man. We're looking forward to getting up there and doing some good things. And like I said, next week we'll get back. Aaron says that's going to be a doozy, getting those two guards down there. Woo, boy, that's going to be fun indeed. But, Aaron, we appreciate you getting that start and always being a part of the show. Let's go back to All Star Game. Got the All Star Game coming up. I was a baseball guy, but like I may have said before, man, if my coach was 5 minutes late picking me up for baseball practice in the summer, I was going to the hoop court. So with that being said, they're going up to Colorado, that high altitude. So tell us what you go expect from this 2021 All Star Game, Terry.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, I would say, just with the viewership. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we were just talking about how Major League Baseball is just starting to get its peak again, getting its little umph again and start getting guys watching baseball instead of watching the something else or a movie or something. So, I mean, just with the viewership, Major League Baseball, I guess it was reported to have 8.9 million views watching that All Star game. And then compared to the NBA All Star game, it was 5.94. So, I mean, big difference. I think season has something to play in that too. It's February, that weekend, where no one's really interested into the NBA All Star game. But just the name itself, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, that dude is amazing. I mean, the guy hits home runs, and then he throws 100-mile fastballs, and he just has that flair to him. He's like 6'5". He can run. His dude's like Superman. He's like a superhero out there playing baseball. I mean, and, not to mention he brings in the international pub, dudes from Japan. I mean, and I heard the what Stephen A. said about him. Man, to heck with that, man. The dude can play baseball. He could be the face of the MLB. Not to mention Fernando Tatis. I mean, Tatis that dude has flair himself, the colorful hair, going out there, trying, skipping around in the diamond. Like, it's a new flair in baseball nowadays. I was a little upset my guy Tim Anderson didn't get to hit and get in that bat. Everybody else did but him. That's very interesting. I mean, the guy's been on the cover of the RBI Baseball 2021. That's a little weird, but whatever about that. We're going to win the World Series. But it's funny, though. I mean, baseball has really just took a turn, man, where everybody's interested in it. Vladdy Guerrero, congrats on that that MVP. That All-Star MVP. Dude had a great game. So it was a great All-Star weekend. It's weird that it's in the middle of the week, and they kind of quick turnaround with the game tonight with the Red Sox and Yankees, but it was just a great turnout. I mean, it looked a lot of fun. I think it's a bucket list now of mine to go out there and see a home run derby, but it was a lot of flair and a lot of fun, as you see with those views.
Yeah, well, Anika Akins, who's going to be joining us for the recruitment forum following this, said the jerseys was cold, so she signed off on the jerseys. That's cool. You not feeling the jerseys, Terry?
I thought they were a little basic, but you know what? They look better. When they first came out, I wasn't really feeling them. I was like, those look a little blank, not a lot of flair, but I mean, some teams had a different spin on theirs with the color, with the jersey, but they looked a lot better being on the players. I mean, each player has their own drip, as we say nowadays, so They look really cool on that field, though.
Yeah, I get it. And Aaron talks about Major League Baseball needing to do a better job in marketing their stars, and maybe that has something to do with that cover you were just talking about, trying to put them in different spaces. So that's pretty good. Anika says, no flair necessary. She's good on that. We appreciate you, Anika, and can't wait to see you in the next hour coming up. I know you're going to have a lot to offer. Got all kind of great people supporting the SPS Edge Show right now. Patrick, tell me what's your thoughts? We had kind of talked about this before when we introduced baseball to the lineup, a couple weeks ago, no pun intended. What's your thoughts when you hear about this All-Star game? Are you going to be like Terry fighting for the remote to watch it, or are you going to be focused on something else, or maybe even a Boston, New York game?
Oh, that's always a fun game to watch. That's one of the greatest matchups in sports history.
Yeah.
I wasn't fighting for the remote for the All-Star game per se, but I tune into the Home Run Derby every year. I think it's one of the greatest things in sports.
Let me ask you, do you like the current setup or the past couple setups where pretty much they don't roll over your runs?
No, I don't think you necessarily need to roll over the runs. I think you should just have everybody hit against everybody, and then the lowest man loses.
So what would that look like?
That would look like how the three-point contest used to be 5 years ago in the NBA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would look like that. So you'd have everybody hit, and then lowest man, you're out. And then the rest
so everybody hits. So what is it? Timing? They'll turn the clock on, or you get so many pitches?
No, you keep it. You keep it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You keep the 3 minutes and let them hit. And, get their bonuses and all that stuff. I think all that stuff is exciting.
Yeah.
But you change up the way playing against two guys, because then you got a guy that hits 30 home runs and then doesn't make it. It's weird. You got to.
Right. Right. I know. That's my thing. You see that, you're like, that's not, or unless the competition is such where they're saying you got to exceed every time. Every time you got to max out, you know, what you're doing or whatnot. So maybe
and also we got to get it off ESPN. Like somebody needs to step up and do a better job of like broadcasting this thing, and the production value I thought was absolutely horrendous. You couldn't see the ball go out. Everybody wants to see the ball go out.
Yeah.
You don't just watch the hitter hit, take 30 swings. Sometimes we want to see the ball go. And then also you want the distance on some of those balls. You know, a lot of the ball, like we were getting one or two here and there. Like I kind of want to know where they all go. Yeah,
I get it. I appreciate that. And Aaron thinks those are good thoughts. So he wants to sign you up for the MLB competition committee so you can add those thoughts. Speaking about that, John, when you hear about this, I always like to get your perspective of then and now of, you know, what was it like when the All Star Game was introduced in your mind when you heard about that? But also, too, is like, are they really getting the most out of it right now with the way it's set up? Just give me your take on MLB All Star Game 2021.
Well, it's the closest All-Star game to a real game. Okay, the basketball is let's go up and run up and down the floor and shoot, and let's highlight our stuff. And football, that's just, it's not even worth watching anymore. But baseball, you got an all-star pitcher coming in, pitching every inning, and you got different all-stars trying to hit. So it's the closest simulation to a real game of any of the all-stars in any of the professional sports.
True.
And I agree with what you said, Lindsay. I think that your home runs should roll over. Like last year, Alonso wouldn't have won if it was a rollover, because Guerrero hit so many the round before that he was too tired to hit when it came time to the championship game.
Yeah.
It didn't count. So I think it should roll over. But, I was there in 1971 in the old Briggs Stadium, Tiger Stadium, when Reggie Jackson hit it out of the park over the roof.
Wow.
An all-star game.
He hit it out of the stadium?
You know where the Brooks Lumber is across the street?
Yeah.
He hit it into the yard in Brooks Lumber.
He hit it into the lumber yard.
He hit across over the stadium, across Trumbull, into the lumber yard. Over the building and into the yard where they store the wood.
Crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, my good buddy Rod, I think it does. Does it still determine home field advantage in the World Series, depending on who it is?
It does. So AL got it this year.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Rod, for checking in. My guy Rod Wilson, always on it, whatnot. Well, it should be a good time, man. I think it also says, when you see these guys, you're right, Reggie Jackson was a beast. When you see these guys stand behind and just toss that ball over, it just shows you the ability that these players have that they can actually hit out. But also, it also gives you more respect for the pitchers. At the pitchers, as they say, what do they say in the movie Life with Martin Lawrence, we can't get right, say, hey, put that thing on it. When the pitchers put something on it, you can't hit it. But when they're just lobbing it over, look what these guys can do. So I think it gives credit to the pitchers as well. Yeah, that's why the game matters, right? Ron say, hey, he don't care about all that. Jerseys, he don't care about how many home runs. It's about who's going to get home field advantage. But, the way the playoffs are nowadays, it doesn't even matter, who got home field or whatnot. Well, speaking of home field, man, I want to talk about somebody from the turf. I want to switch and talk about the hiring of Mr. Willie Green to be the new head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans. He's gone from a Cooley Cardinal in Detroit to the New Orleans Pelicans. Willie Green was my contemporary. So here I am with SPS, and now here he is, coaching NBA teams. When I was at Henry Ford, we played Cooley. All I just heard people talking, man, Willie Green. Now, I tell you this, he looked like a man when he was out there. I remember sitting out there coming in, Patrick, and he's on the court, but it's like his feet don't move. It's like he's like what they say when a swan or a duck is going across the water. He just was always just very smooth with everything, good dude, and I'm just so happy that he's gotten his just due. All I do is hear great things about him and what he's accomplished. So I'll start with you, Terry. When you hear someone like Willie Green, who as a basketball aficionado you've been familiar with, whether when he was playing, whether he was on the sidelines as an assistant coach, but then getting this head coaching opportunity. And I thought there's one little piece in here too. I call it the Juwan effect. Not taking anything away from his ability to get a coaching job. I think these folks are saying, man, these black head coaches are making it happen. So with that being said, Terry, what do you think about Willie Green's hiring as the new head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans?
I mean, you said he's cool, calm, and collected. He's going to need every bit of that when he goes down there.
So the question is, did he get the right job, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Pelicans, you know, are looking for a new flavor, maybe a new school kind of feel. I mean, they got
opposite of Van Gundy. Anything opposite, they instead of the high end, those players didn't respond, I would imagine. So they need low key and chill opposite. So that's why it may be a good fit, you think?
Yeah, and to me, you know, growing up and just watching sports, it's hard to coach a team that has a big spotlight, but they haven't won or proved anything. I mean, Zion has had that spotlight, you know, ever since he stepped on the hardwood, you know. Now he's in the NBA, and everyone, it's like the NBA is like struggling to like hold back from pushing him out so much and having him be the face of the league because he hasn't won anything. And so I think, you know, with that pressure coming on, there had been some rumors about Zion not being happy. I don't know if that has to do with SVG, and it probably does.
Well, but I want to add to that, and I want to make sure that John and Patrick touch on that too. And we're going to keep you. I'm going to yield my time back to you with that. But yeah, that was put out there. But I wonder if it's beyond SVG.
Right.
I wonder if they want to be in a different market, because you got to think about it. They were saying we had a chance to go to New York if we would have went second. Are they saying they want to be in a different market? And I wonder if this is the play they go have no matter what, because they want to better leverage and make Zion a star somewhere else compared to New Orleans. So I'll put that out there for our other panelists when we get to those guys too. But go ahead, please.
But no, I mean, exactly. I mean, Zion is struggling with that spotlight. You know, maybe his endorsements take a different turn with the bigger market, you know, whether it's in Miami or New York, like you mentioned, LA, you know, maybe a bigger team like that. But also, I mean, come down to it, they just have to play better. I mean, what are they going to do? They might lose Lonzo. I thought somebody who I thought really played well on that team. Shot great from the not great, but, you know, he got better from three. Form is changing every time I see him, and it's looking like the shots are going in. That's only up from here with him. Brandon Ingram, maybe Willie Green is a guy that can make him play more consistent, put more games together, kind of like Chris Middleton, but I think he's like a down step from Chris Middleton. Like, he just needs more games to be put together for him to play really well. I think he's a really good talent still, even coming out of Duke. So, I mean, maybe Zion feels that pressure. Maybe he feels that heat to maybe go somewhere else, try something again. But at the same time, dude, I mean, you got to win still. You got to find a way to win. I mean, I feel like they're still conscious about him getting hurt, and I think he's still irritating him a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, with Giannis staying in Milwaukee with that small market and really turn that into, you know, major high-key basketball and, you know, big-time basketball on TV, that narrative doesn't always work for everyone. So maybe Zion's seeing that, and he's like, maybe I need something new. But I think this year it may not be the telling, but I think the year after they make some moves in the offseason, hopefully try to shuffle some guys to get them some players.
My boy Rod is on the line with some of the agents. I don't know who he talking to, but he getting the word that the Lakers might be trying to get Lonzo back. You sitting on some information? Rod, you know what? You make some excellent points, Terry, and I want to send that over to our guys, John and Patrick, because I wonder, and as much as I'm supportive of Willie Green's coaching opportunity, I'm concerned about Zion. And it's not Zion direct, it's his parents. Because hearing a parent put out that kind of statement, dude, this ain't AAU, this ain't college.
It's real.
You in the pros. You play for the New Orleans Pelicans. And I just don't want it to be that you think that, oh, if I was somewhere else, it'd be different. The question is, can Zion's game translate? And can Zion be part of a winning program? So I'll start with you, Patrick. When you hear these worldwide ride, not to be confused with Worldwide West, that's Worldwide Ride. That's the plug. I love it, Rod. I love it. So, Patrick, when you hear Terry's point, or you just hear about this coaching hire, and I don't want to take away from Willie Green right now. This is his moment for us to acknowledge him. But do you wonder, are you concerned about, you know, these rumblings you're hearing? All of a sudden, are the heavens going to open up because Willie Green is not the coach with the championship pedigree, that the Zion camp is going to get on board, or are they still looking for an opportunity? But with that being said, your thoughts on that would be appreciated. Yours as well, John. But tell me what you think about the Willie Green hire. We do want to honor our guy Willie right now.
the Willie Green hire, it's a great hire. He's been on the sideline for a while. He deserves his chance. How good he'll do, I don't know. We'll have to see. There's not much track record to find out. But does that make Zion stay, and does that make his camp happy? I don't know. You know, if he can go to New York and play for the Knicks, he'll be probably within a month, 2 months, he'll be the the most endorsed athlete in America.
Oh yeah,
because it's New York. He'll have more endorsements than he can shake a stick at. So I'd go if I was him, because if they had the same team and you just replace him for Julius Randle, they beat the Hawks and move on. In my opinion.
So?
In my opinion.
My mom said if Green and Zion wins, everything changed for the Pelicans. I think, man, at the end of the day, you have to look at teams and the culture of the team beyond, what's on the court. Like in that city, New Orleans it's almost like, shout out to Wayne State. Wayne State just started getting apartments on campus. Wayne State was known for being a transient school. Nobody stayed on campus. They came through, they did their thing, and they went home. New Orleans is that kind of community too, to a degree. Not taking anything away from people who live in the different wards, but it's known as just a place you come and visit and see. So I just wonder if that's going to be a challenge. John, when you hear this, first of all, let's talk about Willie Green and his hiring and what that means. But secondly, I think Terry started and Patrick agreed that, what are these rumblings going to do? Because if Patrick can just share with us what those endorsements will look like, what's being said to Team Zion in his ear, like, dude, if you go over here, man, you can do this, this, and that. So what do you think about, one, the Willie Green hiring and the rumbles happening in Camp Zion?
Well, first of all, I'm thrilled to death that Willie Green is getting this opportunity. There's only 30 of them. It's the pinnacle of coaching basketball. It's a great honor to be afforded that opportunity. And look at the tree he comes from and the people he's been around. And it just shows you that, it's a great thing for Detroit basketball. We've had so many people in this town come through this town that were just huge figures in a game of basketball. And I'm happy that Willie Green's got this chance to be the head coach. Now, when it comes time to this Zion, all right, there's situations that come up where nowadays we see it, where guys want out. And it doesn't matter whether it's the NFL or the Major League Baseball or the NBA. It doesn't matter. It's something that you have to deal with nowadays if you're part of a franchise, okay? So,
it comes with being a professional athlete.
Hey, it's just part of life now. That's just the way the way the game is played. People are always looking for something to be better. Okay, he's gonna make a salary that's comparison to everybody else. But what can he get off the court? Well, really, seriously, in the NBA, how many guys do you turn on watching something else besides basketball that come on TV? Chris Paul, he's big in insurance, okay?
Good point.
You see LeBron, okay. Now, I don't know, is there many more athletes that are in the NBA that have the swag, that have the ability to sell Mountain Dew or like when LeBron used to sell Sprite? Is Zion really this guy? Is he the guy that's going to be? To me, it remains to be seen. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the superstar but there's very few guys that get this opportunity. I mean, who else in the NBA is a national spokesman? Can you think of anybody? Terry?
Curry's the closest one, but he does watches, Subway,
right.
golf and Under Armour. But
but Curry kind of faded a little bit. If you notice, when I thought about Curry, to your point, when the Pelican, when the Warriors kind of moved out the spotlight, so did Curry. So that was kind of like what was going. But I think Chris Paul has done that. But you make excellent points.
You don't have to win to be the face of the NBA. You don't have to win. LeBron was the face of the NBA years before he got a ring. So was Michael Jordan.
True. So I guess it was the marketability in the campaign.
It is about that smile and certain things. Like, he's a phenomenon. And then there's one more point. No matter what, when you come, like, let's say you play for the Detroit Pistons, there's local sponsorships too. Chauncey and them used to be on car commercials around here and stuff like that. Nobody else saw that. 4 or 5 years ago when Odell made that catch in New York, he was the most endorsed athlete in the world at the time. I didn't see him on any commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But New York and LA, there's millions of people that live there in the metro area. So that's a whole nother local market. You can probably make
that's a major media market
just off local things there.
Right. I got it. Well, that's good. Well, guys, we're going to take a break. Speaking of media markets, we're going to take a break right now. Again, I want to thank the Horatio Williams Foundation. Shout out to H, Dick's Sporting Goods, as well as Gilead Sciences, and Team Michigan and basketball. They got something else to share.
We're so happy that our son is playing AAU basketball.
Well, let's be honest. As much as we enjoy traveling with our son from tournament to tournament, who really likes sitting in a hot gym from sunup to sundown in a strange city with absolutely nothing to do?
This is just how it is. Hot gyms, tiny hotel rooms, horrible food, and nothing to do.
Well, my friend Tracy's son's team found a new series of basketball tournaments designed with the entire family in mind.
Where?
Team Michigan Basketball is holding a series of basketball tournaments in Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, just outside of Traverse City, Michigan.
Well, what does this basketball tournament offer that the others don't?
A full spa, 3 golf courses, indoor swimming, playground, multiple restaurants and bars, casino gambling, great basketball shopping, and so much more.
Wow! Where can we find more information?
Their first tournament is this Halloween weekend. Tracy says visit basketball.com for information about the first tournament. Where are you going?
I'm going to call the coach. We have to make sure he signs the team up for all of their tournaments.
All right, it's going to be another good time. Can't wait. What do you say? You just don't get on the Carnival rides ride? I'm not sure I follow that. I missed that. Don't get on the Carnival rides. Oh, I did see that Carnival ride that was about to fall over. I don't know if you guys saw it on the news. Where was it?
In Traverse City, there was the Carnival rides were out of control in basketball, so that was the.
Okay, I get it. Thank you. But we gonna be indoor and we ain't doing no Carnival rides. Thank you for that reminder. Like, I don't need that. Yeah, everybody had to come to help. Man, we got a lot of other great topics we can talk about for sure. So that was a cherry festival. Yeah, we ain't messing with no cherries. We only mess with balls. So we good. So keeping it moving, man, there was another thing, man. This Ben Simmons trade rumor that's out there. I remember immediately after they exited the playoffs, there was talk about him leaving, and Clutch Sports was quick to say, no, he wants to be here, which was probably the right thing to say and put out there. However, putting my sports psychology consultant hat back on, I just think he needs a fresh start. Hell, trade Ben Simmons for Kyle Kuzma. Who knows? I don't know if that's a fair trade, but I just look at that. What you say, Patrick?
That'd be nasty.
Nasty good, nasty bad.
That'd be good for the Lakers.
Good for the what about the other part? What about the other part of that comment? You say it's good for the Lakers, huh?
Embiid gonna be out next. Embiid
terrible. That'd be terrible for the what's called.
Yeah, but I just
they said they want an all-star player. Is Kyle Kuzma an all-star?
Well, the only reason I bring it up because I saw a comment that Kyle Kuzma made talking about inconsistency and all these things. But Terry, we'll start with you. When you hear this thing about the Ben Simmons trade, if you had to bet, Do you see a trade happening where he will not be playing for Philadelphia next season, or is this just part of what we have during this media time?
I think they ride this year out, honestly. I don't know if he gets traded. I think, like I said, like what Mr. Wilson said, I do think Pacers maybe. They did offer that, but they didn't take it though. But I'm really looking at that Portland one. I've been hearing things about maybe Dame going there, but I'm not gonna feel that. I'm not feeling that at all. I think Dame needs to go to LA. Speaking of that, happy birthday to him. But I think we need to go to LA. But I think Ben right now, man, and we've seen this with Chris Paul, great example. Guys that just get traded to a non-contending team, do their thing, get their confidence, that swagger back, make some noise, and they wind up on another contending team. It's just kind of like the cycle of the NBA sometimes. Guys that, aren't at like LeBron, Luka, Kawhi level, but can give you something. I think Ben can truly give you something, but I think he doesn't believe that in himself right now. I think the front office sees it. I think we see it. I mean, you see the number of times people comment like, why doesn't he just take the ball to the rim? Or why doesn't he at least attempt a jump shot? I think we all see the ability in him, but like we all know, if you don't believe in yourself, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what we say. It doesn't matter what Doc says. It doesn't matter what Embiid says. Embiid can endorse his teammate all he wants. But if Ben doesn't believe that, Ben is useless. I mean, at the end of the day. So I do believe that Ben does need a fresh start. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I think Ben does need that, that little stress relief where he's like, okay, I'm going to go play for, who knows, the Kings maybe. I mean, the Kings were like subpar, but maybe he needs to go there, play with Fox, let Fox play off the ball. I don't know if that's going to work, but like maybe he needs somewhere just to, kind of take that stress relief, restart, and then maybe get back on another contending team. We've seen it before, time and times again. We've seen guys get recycled around the league, so maybe he needs that for him, mature a bit. I think we always see guys that go on a different team that isn't so good. They mature. They realize, like, I'm a professional. I want to win. I want somebody to believe that I can win. I do believe that as far as Chris Paul and polished as he is a guard, I feel like he matured so much down there in OKC, down there. And then him coming to the Suns, he was like very seasoned vet. And he already was. He learned, to play with those guys, play with Schroeder, play with SGA. I mean, I feel like there's so much that Ben can learn just by taking a step back, getting some bumps and bruises down there. It's not going to be sweet and easy like it was in Philly. Get some bumps and bruises, come to a contending team, and bring something that we all know you can.
Yeah, I like that. My concern about that, Terry, as I get ready to go to Patrick, too, and I was going to pose this question, is that is what he needs. I think he needs to be able to step back and not be expected to be definitely not the first option, and maybe even not the second. But here's the thing. The expectation is that you're going to be one or two. So no one's going to allow you to go anywhere and sit back and be the third or fourth option based on what the money is. And that's unfortunate. Rod says Simmons took one shot outside the paint over 7 games. Come on, son. I'm saying this in Rod's voice. I know Rod well. Come on, son. He said, work on your game and get a fresh start. I agree with that. I think we are in agreement. But, Patrick, what's your thought? Do you see the NBA rolling that contract over somewhere and somebody said, we're going to bring you in and let you work your way back, but don't worry, we won't have an expectation of you being the first or second option?
I think it would be the greatest move in the world for the Golden State Warriors to figure out that trade and acquire Ben Simmons.
Because they can absorb him. They can absorb him with the team you have.
Yeah. I love Draymond Green. He's a hometown favorite and all that, but get him out of here.
Oh,
you're saying trade for Draymond? Oh man,
they want an all-star. They want an all-star caliber player. I would give them Draymond and James Wiseman for Ben Simmons.
They might have to
Ben Simmons is 6'10", was in talks. No matter what everybody want to say about him, he had a meltdown, blah, 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 blah. Let's talk facts. Last 2 years, All-Star game. Last 2 years, first team all defense. Yep. He's 6'10" and can guard the 1 through 5, literally.
He's still playing D, yep.
Okay. He just had a shooting problem. But you come to Golden State, we got the best shooting backcourt the NBA's ever seen. You ain't got to take no threes, baby, ever. But we're going to turn you into, you're going to do Draymond Green's part. You're going to facilitate Steph Curry and Klay Thompson running all over the place. You're going to get assists. You're going to get your rebounds. When you're in a transition, if you're not going to attack the rim, you're a liability. You can't play for me.
So
but other than that, that's the perfect role for him.
So just to be clear, you're saying Ben Simmons to Golden State, but Draymond is out. I think they'll have a riot.
They want to. 76ers want an all-star caliber player. Okay, and they still going to need somebody to facilitate the offense there. So Draymond can kind of fill in for it. They can put him at the 4, Tobias at the 3, and then figure out 2 shooters to put around Joel and Embiid, and just have Draymond feeding Joel all day long, and then when he's getting doubled, knock it out for the 3-pointer.
Yeah, Aaron Mays says that Simmons needs a veteran around him and take him under his wing. It's almost like what we saw with Booker and CP3, but you can only hope that situation can come together and be like that. With the time we have, what do you think, John, going forward? Oh, what does Rod say? The defensive factor, is big. Good point. Swap no offensive player. So you okay? That's right. You're losing no offense for no offense. But I just think that the that would have to be a GM. I met Bob Myers briefly. Actually, I met Bob Myers when Draymond was being honored at Michigan State. Real cool, but that would have to be a GM not worrying about the public fallout and trying to sell the idea of Ben Simmons, who had a dismal, playoff experience, to get rid of that. But, if he could just be still out to make it. What do you think about that, John, making that kind of deal? And what do you think about the idea of this Ben Simmons trade?
Well, I mean, this is a player that does a lot of things right. And, it's unfortunate that in the NBA that he can't make a shot. And he struggles at the foul line. And, I don't know. I'm a coach at heart, and I think that if the right person got a hold of him and maybe tried to get him to do some things that it would help his shooting. I'm not saying Doc didn't, but a lot of guys that coach on that level, they're not developers. But God, man, they got enough suits behind the bench. You'd think that a few of them would be. But I mean, I like Ben Simmons' game. I mean, he defending, just what Patrick said, what Terry said, I agree with. And it looks like the problem with Philadelphia now is, what do you get back? Okay, this trade that Patrick was talking about, is something else. I mean, that's a pretty interesting, and that would obviously be a big splash. But he is so undervalued right now. What does Philadelphia get for him? And I mean, that's what you got to look at, because remember, when you trade, it takes 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so
nobody's trying to take an L.
Right. They're not gonna just get rid of him just for the sake of getting rid of him. They want something back.
I get it.
You really just need to work on his free throws. If he can get up to 75, 80% to like 75, maybe 78% at the free throw line, that would take out of it, because he just didn't shoot. He don't have a scoring problem. Giannis don't shoot 50% from 45% from three. He's a 30% three-point shooter. He can't shoot anywhere past 15 feet, or he's airballing, or it's way off. You don't have to be this great jump shooter, bro. But you do need to do what you already do well.
Yeah.
You can't stop doing that just because people are saying you're shooting the ball bad. Get your 6'10", super athletic, mobile self to the rim, baby. They send all these boys to the line for nothing these days. Shoot 75% from the line. He can average 15 to 20 points on any team in the NBA. He can average 10 rebounds and 10 assists. If he really put his mind to it, he's a triple-double guy. This is a back-to-back all-star guy, first-team all-defense guy. Makes $100 million, bro. I understand he didn't shoot in the fourth quarter. That's fine. But get to the rack. Work on some other things. Get a little floater 5 foot from the rim. So if you can't get close enough, you shooting a floater. There's so many different things to do for his game, but it needs to start at that free throw block, because he's got to get some respect on that court.
Terry brings up the most important point, I think, and the best point is that it's him. It rests in him. It rests. What does he want to be? I agree with Terry.
Yeah, well, we're going to keep an eye on that going forward. Staying with the NBA on a higher level and struggles, USA basketball, man, my question is, after their third game and now their first win, can we say that USA basketball, are things looking up for them? You see Kevin Durant, you see Bradley Beal is going to be out on COVID protocol potentially. I believe Jeremiah Grant may be out as well. I mean, nobody expected them to take the 2 L's that they took going forward. Terry, what do you think about with USA basketball and what's going on? Should we be concerned? I mean, or basically the straightforward question is, are they going to win gold?
They're going to win gold. I mean, it's exhibition games. I mean, I would argue that, you know, with guys like Drew Holiday and Middleton and possibly, you know, Giannis not on that team, but I mean, guys like Booker, maybe Chris Paul, you know, coming in there, I think they'd add something to the team. But I mean, when you got guys like Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, I mean, Bradley Beal himself is probably gonna be the best player on the court. If it was Bradley Beal and himself and maybe a couple college guys from the U.S. and played against the international team, he'd be the best player. They win by 20. I mean, we're talking about the NBA. Everybody's talking about, oh, the league has been so soft. They complain about fouls, this and that. You know what? The NBA has a gear. We all see the gear. We see the gear flip and switch during the playoffs. NBA players get up for games. And, you know, exhibition games, no. We see it in the preseason. But now in the regular season, okay, maybe you have some games where they turn it up and then they cruise back. You know, it's a marathon in the league. You know, and just like in the Olympics, they're going to turn up. They know it's a pride about winning gold in basketball in the United States of America. They're not going to you cannot mean to tell me that they do not have that competitive edge. And they all know, they hear the stuff about, man, if Melo was there, if Brown was there, you know, if Chris Paul going to be there. Like, they hear it all the time. There's no way they're not going to allow us to win gold. Kevin Durant is not going to allow us not to win gold.
You know, I can appreciate that, and you make a good point, especially when you mention those. Especially you mentioned the best Olympian ever in Carmelo Anthony. And I think something to be said about that is international game. Yeah, but the international game is different, and I think Melo's game really worked really well in that. Statistically speaking, Aaron is saying the USA will win. It won't be a cakewalk, and don't downplay the competition. I just think that, well, maybe it's these first 2 games they went through, and the third one is more of a recognition. But also, too, and John, you know about this, and Patrick, I pose this question to you. Since we watched USA basketball back in 1992, man, when guys were actually on the court taking pictures of the competition. Yeah. I mean, they were taking pictures of the people they were playing against. Since then, Hubie Brown, Larry Brown have gone overseas and taught the game of basketball to these people. So the game has grown. So with that being said, man, I mean, it's just not the same anymore. And I think the one thing we have to be careful with is USA's arrogance. This is not taking anything away from the players. But, dude, on any given night, you can be beat in this basketball world, you know? So, John, I'm sorry, I'll start with Patrick. When you hear that, what's your take on Olympic basketball for USA right now? Are we all saying gold? We got Terry checking the box saying gold. I'll be willing to check the box reluctantly to say gold. And I'm a USA basketball guy. I did work with USA basketball. I love them. But, Patrick, what do you think?
If you're a betting man, you go with USA. They have a chance to win the gold, but there's other people that have chances too. But I got 2 things to say. It's a combination of things of why it's dropped off a little bit. First of all, the landscape is totally different. When they played Nigeria 4 years ago, they beat them by 80 points. Nigeria has 5 NBA basketball players on it now. They had 0 last time. So when you say the sport is growing, yes, it's growing around the world. There's NBA ball players they're playing against now. You know, but that whole little losing to what was that, Australia? Who they lose to?
Australia, yep.
And what Patty Mills was going crazy. That's like out of control. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But my other point is now you go to the downfall of our amateur sports that because the NCAA has held us back and other high school organizations in certain states hold our players back because it's not a global, it's a global thing now. It's not where they just you play high school basketball for a great high school coach, and you go to a great college program, and then you learn your skills, and then you become a grown man, and now you're ready to go play pro ball. It's not like that anymore. In Slovenia, Luka Doncic was playing when he was 14. Dirk Nowitzki was playing when he was 14. Spurs. Tony Parker. These boys was playing pro ball at 13, 14 years old.
And on top of that, FIBA ball, international rules.
Right. Pro ball against they played in the second. Luka played in the second best league in the world and got an MVP and won a championship.
So they're playing Australia again tomorrow. Are they going to smash Australia just off rip?
I think they will just off
about
rip.
15, 20 points.
You say 15 to 20?
15,
but see, that's what I'm trying to tell you, Terry. That's a downfall, bro. We used to beat everybody by 40.
Yeah.
I used to watch the Olympics in the summer when LeBron and all them was together. I wouldn't even watch the game, bro. I would turn it on and then come back every 5 minutes like, oh, here's another dunk, here's another alley-oop, here's a block. Yeah. They can't score. We up 50. You know what I mean? Like now, why are we winning by 15, bro? You got 5 first All-NBA team guys on this roster. You got ridiculous basketball players on this roster that they say are the best in the world. I didn't see the best in the world in the exhibition. And if you just say, well, they treated it like NBA pregame, then I think, why are you even out there then?
I just don't want them to treat it like, an all-star game. And this is what I have a problem with the U.S. basketball team. I feel like they feel like they have to get everybody involved. And it's one thing that you promote ball movement, and Greg Popovich does promote that ball movement, everybody getting touches. But I personally think that if I have somebody who's an elite scorer like Kevin Durant, do they have enough courage to be like, you know what, we're going to play through KD, and the rest of y'all, we're going to run sets for you guys, but KD is going to be the number one option. I don't think the U.S. has enough courage to do that because everybody has their own egos. Everybody has their own pride where it's like, man, if I'm Damian Lillard, I'm like, why does Kevin Durant earn all these shots? I can do it too, kind of thing. Brad Beal has been the number one option for this long. So I think it's a bunch of egos where it runs into that. I just want them to play like a true basketball team and not have it feel like such an all-star game. Like so much ISO ball. Like I wanted to, and it's hard to do that in such a short amount of time, which is why they have all these exhibition games. But I wanted to get a feel of like, okay, if Dame's getting it going tonight, I'm going to feed Dame. I'm not going to really worried about KD's touches right now. And I think KD would be willing to take that. He did that when he was with the Nets. So I think, they kind of play like it's
you can't approach it like an NBA game, though.
That's true.
You can't approach it like an NBA game. And you also want it to be like Coach K. You all are great players. You're the greatest players in the world. Put everybody in the position where they succeed. You don't necessarily have to force everything through Kevin because you're right. Dame deserves some shots too. But you have to get them playing to where it's seamless for them to feel like, okay, you go, then I go, then you go, and I go, and it works together. Because that's what Kobe and LeBron and them did. They was partying with each other. It was a playground. It was like playground ball with them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, John, and I'll pose a controversial question to you. Can we say it's coaching? Popovich in his first go-round as the head coach for USA Basketball. The esteemed Mike Krzyzewski made the transition. Maybe he said he got out ahead of the game because he probably knew by now he would be ready to retire and all that. But how much of this do we put on Pop?
Well, I think you have to take into consideration that these guys been playing basketball for a long time. They had this turnaround that was the shortest turnaround. Now they're getting done playing, and they're right into the Olympics. So they've had the COVID season, then the regular season, then the playoffs, and now the Olympics. Bam, 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 bam. Now, Popovich walks in and he says, okay, guys, here's what the United States basketball says. We have a game against Nigeria tonight. Nigeria can't sleep the night before. They're so excited about playing the game. And the United States guys are saying, Jesus Christ, man, I wish we could just play when it came time to count. But, we got to go out here and play. Listen, Popovich has been there right next to Coach K. He's got a great staff. He's got a great team. you know, you got all these guys from Australia and everything else are going to give their best shot. Let's wait and see and be patient and wait and see when the money's on the game. Okay, when the money's on the line and it's gold, silver, or bronze, before everybody gets excited. We have the best basketball players in the world, and Kevin Durant and those guys, they're not going to want to lose to Nigeria when it comes time for the medal. Yeah. They're not going to want to lose to Australia. They're not going to want to lose to anybody, Spain or anybody. So, I you know, when I saw it, I didn't even read the article.
You didn't even read it?
I didn't read the article because I said, you know, those guys they didn't care. They didn't care, and they got beat. And so what? But you got to have faith in these guys that want to come time for a medal. They're going to walk away with the gold. I got all the confidence in the world in the coaching staff, the people they put together, and the players that they'll be ready to go when it comes time to play for the money.
I agree. It's just one of those things where it's like I agree. You know, you don't approach it like a NBA game, but I think it will be interesting to see. You know, this turn of like you mentioned, the game is growing overseas. I mean, you see all these. You see Thibault balling on his team. You know, it's really cool to see that, and I think it's going to amp up the competition. Luka and his boys balling. You know, so I think it's going to be really cool to see. You know. The national team, and then I expect to see even more players internationally coming into the NBA draft and making a name for themselves. You know, I think it's something that really shows how basketball is such an international game, and I think it still has some growing to do.
Yeah, it's
most of that success, though, Terry, them coming in and making a name for themselves is because the refereeing and the style of the game has changed from 10 years ago, bro. You can't touch anybody. Yeah, We're starting to play pro ball like them over there.
That's what the game is going to be.
Our game is becoming their game, which I don't know why, because ours is more superior, but I'm not in charge of this whole basketball universe.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we're going to play Euro ball over here, of course some European boys are going to come over here.
Well, but, you know, I would argue, Patrick, that's probably the NBA appealing to more of a global audience.
It always comes down to money. Everybody knows that here. Yeah. It always goes back to money, and we want to grow this thing around the world. Right. They got as much money out of the U.S. population as they can, and they become such a big corporation. They're just like anything else. We need to acquire more markets. We need to grow the bottom line.
Speaking all about the money, if everyone had to bet, and with this amount of time we have, we're going to be transitioning following this. SPS has the virtual recruitment forum that you guys are welcome to tune into. Looking forward to have a lot of great folks. Let's just do a real quick thought on the NBA Finals. It's 2-2. So we had to bet some money. Who we going with right now? Give me a quick recap with the time that we have. Terry, we had to bet. Who you got for the NBA Finals right now?
Man, I think this one is very important. So now we back 2-2. Best of 3 now. I mean, we could say it's back to 0-0. So I think, you know, Phoenix does have home court advantage, but I think the pressure's all on them. They lose this game, it's Bucks in 6, in my opinion. They lose that game, it's Bucks in 6. If the game goes back to Milwaukee, you see that crowd. I mean, if Giannis and them are not gonna lose that game if it goes back there. But Chris Paul, clutch gene. We saw what happened last night. That's not the Chris Paul I'm used to seeing. I think he'll bounce back. Chris Paul, you know, is a guy that's so poised in big moments. And I think, you know, I still have Suns in 6 just because of how Milwaukee, you know, basically gave them a glass of lemonade and said, here's the win. And you know, you know, the Phoenix Suns shot better than them and still lost. I mean, I've never seen that. I mean, Milwaukee did some of the little things. They shot free throws well, which I don't think they'll do that on the road. They out-rebound them, which I think Ayton is going to, you know, bounce back from that. I think Phoenix makes great adjustments. Credit to Coach Williams. I just think Phoenix has more pieces together, and like Cam Johnson, all those guys play really well, and they step up to big moments. I just do not see – I think Middleton's a great player, but I don't see him scoring like another 40 bomb like he did. Like they're gonna need it, but I don't think he is. So I'm going to go with the Suns just because of how Milwaukee, they come out chucking threes. They don't stick to what they do. And I think that you don't get that pass when you're on the road, which is why they haven't been very successful. And they've been going down 2-0 and, and stuff like that. I just don't think they're going to do that again. I think Phoenix let this one get away. They're going to be angry. Booker's going to be angry about scoring 42 and losing. So I do have Phoenix still, even though I was cheering for the Bucks last night.
Okay, well, Terry's going with Phoenix. I'll go to John and Patrick in the remaining time that we have. Give us a brief summary of who you think is going to win. Go ahead, John. Patrick, I'm sorry.
I'm going with Phoenix. I just think they're the better team all around. I think that just like Chris Middleton had a 40-point game, now he's due for his 15. He'll be on the road.
I don't play him like that though.
That's his game. He's up and down, man. He's
due for his 15. Okay,
that's why he gets talked about so much. Nobody likes consistency.
Yeah,
you see Floyd win 45 in a row, and you don't even watch the last 5. You're sick of seeing him win. But like, people love this roller coaster, and he gets talked about, and but he's an inconsistent player. Drew Holiday could go and do what he did in game 2. He could be 0 for 5 in one quarter, 3 for 9 in another quarter, and then be scared to shoot the ball the rest of the game. They're up and down guys. They were at home. They were comfortable. Giannis played amazing. That block has to go down as one of the greatest blocks in the history of the NBA. He was guarding somebody else and stopping Chris Paul from coming in, and then when the ball got thrown over his head, he relocated it and then went and got it. I mean, it was his athleticism. It was ridiculous. I mean, and you need basketball awareness and IQ and have a nose for the ball to do all that. So I think he's stellar. I think he's the best player on the floor, no matter what team. But
that's real.
If Devin Booker shoots like he did last night and they're at home, and you can get 15 out of Mikal Bridges or 10 points out of Cam Johnson. Yep. Cam Johnson. If you get 10 points out of him, and Aiden can stay out of foul trouble, and Chris Paul doesn't lay an egg, I think you got to win.
Got that. Aaron Mays is saying, can we get a 7 game? The game 7, we'll see.
It probably will go 7. It probably will. It probably will go 7. But I'm with Terry. If they lose this next one at home, if they drop this one at home, Bucks wrapping this up at the crib.
Yeah, we'll see. Everybody be chugging beers, including grandmas. John, what you got? Are you going with the majority? We say Suns. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know. Last night was the first game of the series that really came down to nut-cracking time, fourth quarter game. And one thing I noticed right away was that Milwaukee had 13 more shots in the fourth quarter than Phoenix did.
It's ridiculous.
So that shows you that they got some rebounds and that they went up the floor a little bit. And it's tough to beat some team in a quarter if they get 13 more shots than you.
Absolutely.
But Giannis, I'm telling you, man, this guy amazes me. Just to watch him play the things he does. He's on the floor. He's up the highest of anybody. He's everywhere in between. And I love to watch basketball, especially NBA basketball. Last night, when the championship's on the line, and I came up with a couple things. Middleton had a 3 with about 2 minutes to go, nobody around him, and passed the ball. Now I said, whoa, man.
Yeah, what's that about?
And then Devin Booker goes to the glass to tie the game. And at the last minute, the saying, chin to the rim. I put my chin to the rim so my arm can extend up higher and get closer to the basket. Instead, he puts his head down, he veers to the side, and he looks for the foul. And I said, wow, man, here's these 2 guys that scored 40. And when it came time to win the game, with really nut-cracking time, both of them kind of faded. With all that being said, I just want to see – I don't enjoy watching 20-point blowouts.
No,
I enjoy watching what happened last night. I don't give a damn who wins.
Okay.
I really don't. The best team wins in the NBA. There's no upsets. They might go 7 games.
Right.
I like to see the best basketball players play like they were 14 years old, and if you lose, you got to sit on the side. That's what I like. I love watching basketball players play basketball, and I enjoyed the hell out of that fourth quarter. And you know what I also want to say before it ends? The referees took their whistle in the last 2 minutes, put it in their pockets, and said, "You guys are going to decide who wins that game," and I take my hat off to them.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, I appreciate that. Rod says the Suns will get the home whistle, but Bucks do have the best player. We will see. I want to thank you guys. We've had another great show. I want to thank Terry McCord Jr., John and Patrick Rutherford, also Orlando Watkins for what he's doing. Thank you, Aaron Mays, also Rod Wilson, my guy, as well, Anika Akins as well, and everyone who just said what's up, even our guy Kevin Marshall saying what's up. So we're going to get out of here. If those who are listening, you can see us again coming up shortly in about 10 minutes for the virtual recruitment forum. Got a lot of great people who will be involved in that. And with that, this is Lindsey Hudson with the SPS Edge Show. I want to say thank you and peace, and we'll see you guys next week.